Good evening, this is History in Print. On this day, May 27, 1898, Natchitoches, Louisiana, a small southern town, sitting heavy under a late spring heat. The country was at war with Spain. Young men were enlisting. Back home, the tensions ran deeper. Louisiana had just ratified a new state constitution. Long the Natchitoches populist called it fraud. It was reported that critics said the document had, quote, gone to hell. Meanwhile, the town's racial divisions were cracking open in public. This was Natchitoches. May 27, 1898. The records tell the story. On this day, the Natchitoches populace did something uncommon. It told an uncomfortable truth. According to the Natchitoches populace, Natchitoches, Louisiana, 1898, the editor printed a striking editorial that morning. It targeted the town's recent moral crackdown directly. Local authorities had moved against what the paper described as poor, helpless Negro women. The charges were moral in nature. The enforcement was not. Long because the white men who openly lived with those same women walked free. The editor named them plainly. He called them, quote, the real culprits. He wrote that they had, quote, disgraced our community too long already. These were not hidden arrangements. The paper described men living with these women, quote, to all intents and purposes as man and wife. Openly, publicly, without consequence, the editor demanded equal punishment. He called the selective enforcement a gross injustice. He said the degraded white men, his words, should face the same penalty the women had already received. This was Natchitoches in 1898. These words carried weight. Every day on this channel we open the records for that exact date. If you want to know what happened on your birthday, your anniversary, the day you were born, subscribe. A new episode goes up every single day. Now, back to that editorial. The editor of The Populist was H.L. Bryan. It was reported that Bryan used his paper as a vehicle for inconvenient positions. This was one of them. He did not bury the argument, he did not soften it. He put the blame precisely where he believed it belonged. The powerful went unpunished. He said so out loud. According to the Natchitoches Populist, May 27, 1898, more news filled that edition. Two stories stood apart from the rest. The first came from across the Atlantic. William Ewart Gladstone was dead. England's great commoner passed away at his home at Hawarden on May 19th. He was 89 years old. The Populist reported his final days as a slow and peaceful decline. He had left British Parliament 4 years before. The end came without pain. Editor H.L. Bryan wrote the words plainly. Long the whole English-speaking tongue feels the loss of this great man. 8 words. Natchitoches felt them. The second story cut closer to home. Louisiana had just adopted a new state constitution. The Populist was not impressed. The paper reproduced scathing language from the New Orleans Daily Item. The item declared Louisiana had, quote, in plain Anglo-Saxon simply gone to hell. Strong words for a newspaper. The new constitution ran 26 columns of closely printed matter. Critics said it entrenched constitutional cheating in elections. It taxed everybody except the rich. The Daily State served as its official printer, derided as a corrupt insider arrangement. One man mourned across a hemisphere. One document condemned in its own state. Every day on this channel, we open the records for that exact date. If you want to know what happened on your birthday, your anniversary, the day you were born, subscribe. A new episode goes up every single day. Louisiana's new constitution came with a warning. The Natchitoches Populist printed it plainly. Any white man can register. Very few Negroes can. The message did not stop there. Do you want to be classed with the Negroes, then fail to register? Long that was the law, written that way, spoken that way, enforced that way. According to the Natchitoches Populist, the registration books were open through August 31st. Even men who could not read or write were eligible. If they were white. The racial architecture of the new voter suppression regime was not hidden, it was announced. The editor of that same paper was not finished. Also on this day, the Populist condemned what it called a gross injustice in the town's moral crackdown. Local authorities had punished, in the paper's words, poor helpless Negro women. But the white men openly living with them walked free. The editor called them the real culprits. He said they had disgraced the community too long already. Then came a story from far beyond Louisiana. The Populist reported on claims from the New York World. The international banker Rothschild had sold a warship to the United States. He had also sold one to Spain. Both sides, same war. The paper asked what kind of civilization allows a money monger to stand between the transactions of nations. Pause, short no answer came. Pause, that was May 27, 1898. We'll be back tomorrow with another date from the past. Subscribe to History and